how's it all going tonight? Welcome back again. This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I am here live for my live review of AEW All Out 2019. This one took place at the Sears Center in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, just right outside of Chicago. This is, of course, my first AEW pay-per-view live review since returning to YouTube. Now, I have mentioned several times, and I'm going to be honest, have a quick disclaimer right here before I start this. I have not been able to watch this show live, like, the whole show all the way through. I was not able to find a free edition to watch it. I mean, I'm sorry, I would have, I didn't want to spend $50 by myself to watch a pay-per-view. So usually I share it with my account, my one friend, but he didn't have it either buy. So, because of that, I couldn't find a free edition, so I'm kind of screwed for now. I hope to eventually, of course, someday watch this show actually live. So because of this, I had to basically find just highlights, which I found some highlight videos on YouTube that I did watch regarding AEW All Out, which was WWE's only competition they had for the show. They couldn't throw up a Raw or SmackDown pay-per-view against the show because Vince didn't have the guts to try to throw it up against. They had to throw in NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, which wasn't a bad show. I actually did kind of enjoy that show. So I gave it a B for the grade. All Out, though, I felt did do better, though, I thought. Definitely this or Double or Nothing, I felt, at the time, was their stronger pay-per-view, I thought. I thought it was a good show. I mean, it was still kind of, this is before Dynamite began. This is where they started to introduce some things. They had several tag matches to, establish some more tag teams. There was one match that featured who would get a first round bye. Which took place on the buy-in, which is their pre-show. The winner of that match got a bye in the first round of the tag title tournament. We also got the two people who are going to be fighting for the first ever AEW Women's World Championship and that ugly looking belt. I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan of that belt. But of course, this pay-per-view, we did crown the first ever AEW World Champion. And also, this show did had to have a different match that was an impromptu match that had to be changed because we were supposed to get another match, but we didn't get the match that we got in the end until AEW Full Gear in November. We'll just talk about that in a couple streams to come. So I'm going to talk about this show the best I can. Again, I apologize again. I just had to watch the highlights. I didn't get to actually watch the show live, unfortunately, which I would have loved to, but did not work out based off of schedules. So, first, let's check the live chat. See what we got. We got Tyler in the live chat. What is up? It was 9 years series. Jericho, 9 years since probably Jericho had been world champion. That is true because the previous time before he had been world champion was when he was the world heavyweight champion in 2010. It was after he won it off of Taker and his feud with Edge, and then Jack Swagger cashed in on him. Let me see here. This was before their AEW Weekly show. Since your channel is back, can you resubscribe to my channel? I think I am still subscribed to your channel, Tyler. I just haven't been able to check your videos yet. I know I am subscribed to your channel. But thank you as always for your support as always, buddy. And again, glad to have you here. And you give your thoughts about this show as well, Tyler. Because again, I'm gonna be grading this based off of what I saw off the highlights. And I thought it was a great show. I definitely could say it was better than NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. But again, Cardiff was a good show. But I feel like it's not going to be the best review to me because I don't have too much to really talk about. I watched the highlights. I listened to a couple other live reviews just to help me out a little bit as well. So again, I cheated a little on this one, and I'm sorry, but I had no other choice to be able to do this review for All Out, and I wanted to review all the pay-per-views. Of course, I'm not going to go back to review all Raws, SmackDowns, AEW, as I already said, but we already caught up with those streams. We're good there. These streams, catch up the pay-per-views, are pretty much, just the last thing I need to catch up with, for the most part. But getting tongue twisted, let's move on here. So, again, I had no access to watching the buy-in of pre-show, but the first match we had was a 21 women casino battle royale. And the winner would face either Rio or oh, what's her name again? Either Rio or the other uh, Hikaru Shida. That's who it is. Yeah, I knew it was that, but I cannot remember. I cannot remember how to actually pronounce his name. Yeah, a 21 women casino battle royale. The winner of this match would face either Hikaru Shida or Rio on the October 2nd edition of Dynamite, the debuting episode of Dynamite for the AEW Women's World Championship. Which again, they exposed the belt. I'm sorry, it looks so ugly. I mean, when it was on Rio, I'm like, okay, it kind of fits because Rio's small. It's like a small looking belt. But now it's on Nyla Rose. I'm like, that looks so. Ugh. I don't know. I don't know. I'd rather have that or one of the crappy color coded belts in WWE. Who knows? But again, I didn't see this match. I heard there was a bunch of production glitches though in this match on the show. Like I guess they weren't introducing each person individually. They were coming out in like groups of 5 or something like that. I'm not sure. It was weird. Obviously, again, Nyla Rose won the match. She was in it. So was I think Bea Presley, Dr. Britt Baker. I think Big Swole was in also. Tennille Dashwood was there. I love myself Tennille Dashwood, but she hasn't. I don't think she's been back since. But hopefully she would sign with AEW instead of them, because I'm sure I would get a chance to actually see what she could have done that WWE did not do. And the big surprise also that, of course, I'm surprised she was there because she would go on to sign with WWE, and she is in NXT right now, is Mercedes Martinez as well. She was in this match, and again, I am super surprised. With her going there, I'm very surprised that AEW did not pick her up, and she went to WWE, and she's in NXT right now. Just saying, I am definitely surprised, but Nyla Rose won. That's how she earned her spot in the match for October 2nd. The second match was it was Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn taking on Angelico and Jack Evans. Not a bad match. Well, I'm sorry. I thought this was the match. This was not the match to determine the bye round. But this was just another match kind of get Private Party and these two teams on. Again, there was a lot of tag matches on this show, because I think that was where most of the establishing needed to be, is within the tag team divisions. I felt, especially hyping up getting ready for the tag title tournament that was going to take place starting on October 2nd, which of course we all know the eventual first tag champions in AEW were SCU, or so-called uncensored. But this match was all right. Wasn't anything too spectacular. I mean, from what I heard, and Private Party won by pinfall. Of course, they've gone on to have a little bit more like a serious run, kind of in the rankings right now, but not really too high up the rankings. But after the match, Evans and Angelico celebrated, but then turned on them and attacked them. So they definitely established them as heels. We also got a vignette for Wardlow, who eventually would debut and kind of be MJF's bodyguard. And speaking of which, MJF, who was, even though he was supposed to be a heel, was still kind of a babyface, because he was teaming up with Cody Rhodes until he turned on him at Full Gear, which we kept seeing was coming, because it was obvious that MJF was from the beginning destined to be the top heel in the company, and I think he's already getting his way up there for sure. But basically, he was in an interview asking if he won the match, which he did not want a match on a card, because he wants to help out Cody Rhodes in his match with Shawn Spears later on in the show. Of course, that's also a tease, is he going to do the turn then? We were wondering when that turn was going to happen, which again, that turn happened at AEW Full Gear. So we get to the main card now. And let me see here. We see. Oh, and Tyler says, bring back the World Heavyweight Championship, get rid of the Universal Championship. Yeah, for sure, given his own unique design. Once again, not color coded. And also, he hates Clash of the Champions. Oh yeah, that'll be the next show we talk about. That was not a good show. It was, well, I wouldn't say it was the worst show of the year for me, but it was one of them. I thought it was just average and pointless. Skippable, but wasn't completely insulting, I felt. But we'll talk about that show when we get to it next time. The main card, the first match was SCU's Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky taking on Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt. And it was a great match. I mean, SCU did win by pinfall, but this match was definitely made to really, have Luchasaurus stand out, as he's like, what, 6'6", agile, awesome. Definitely, I forgot to change the graphic. I'm sorry. We got it here. It was, again, 6-man tag match. But definitely just another match to kind of, establish more depth in the tag team division. Again, definitely also, get Luchasaurus a great rub as well, because he's definitely, Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy Jack Perry are also, scrappy underdog names to watch for as well. Obviously, and I think someday they will be tag champions. But definitely, Luchasaurus has so much potential. I mean, he could very well one day be AEW World Champion, I gotta say, but that was meant to be established in this match for sure. But SCU did pick up the victory, and again, they would go on to eventually become the first ever AEW World Tag Team Champions. So that's all I gotta say about this match. Now, the next match had to be modified. Originally, we were supposed to get Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega at All Out. However, a few weeks before All Out, Jon Moxley suffered a minor elbow injury, and that match got pushed to Full Gear. Now, of course, because that happened, I'm not sure if they were going to have it the same stipulation as they did at Full Gear. Because I think the way it looked like it was going at first, they were probably going to have just a regular singles match, Moxley and Omega. But instead, because of Moxley's injury, they pushed it to Full Gear, and it was a lights out match. Basically just another name for an unsanctioned match, because what Moxley was destined to do to Omega, the match was not going to count. And which, of course, Moxley was pissed off about that, because once again, AEW actually has a ranking system and a win-loss record, and it does make people look good now, doesn't it? Because wins and losses do matter in AEW, unlike in WWE. Road Dogg himself said it, that wins and losses don't matter, which is absolutely stupid. But anyway, so instead of Moxley and Omega at this show, we got Pac, formerly, of course, Neville, and Kenny Omega. This was Pac's first, I think, was it his first? I can't remember. Did he have a match at Fyter Fest or Fight for the Fallen? I'm not sure, because I know he was supposed to be at Double or Nothing and take on the Hangman Adam Page, but he didn't have the match because he was supposed to lose that match, and he, at the time, he was Dragon Gate World Champion, and he didn't feel he should be losing as a World Champion. So that's why he backed out of that match, but he would, I think, have him and Page would have their match on pay-per-view eventually at Full Gear, for what I do remember. But from what I saw the highlights, this is an awesome match still. Again, and the thing is, too, is, first off, again, Pac got the win. He got the win, though, by getting Kenny Omega to pass out to the Brutalizer submission that he does. Like, it's that Rings of Saturn finisher he was doing when he was a Cruiserweight champion. And it looked freaking awesome getting Kenny to pass out. Because the thing is also is, Kenny Omega, we all know how good Kenny Omega is. He is established. Like, they could have easily, brought him in and just made him, the top dog of the company. I mean, yeah, they kind of did that with Chris Jericho, but, like people, a lot more people know Chris Jericho, because Jericho's wrestled on how many promotions? Kenny Omega has only wrestled on just a few, but he's still one of the best wrestlers in the world for sure. So obviously Chris Jericho was, well, save that to when we get to the main event. But obviously, you didn't want to have just Omega going roughshod over all these guys, because one, people don't know him, and two, he's taking on guys like Pac and again Jericho, and I think he took on Kip Sabian. Who did he take on again at Fyter Fest or Fight for the Fallen 1 or 2, wherever it was? But he didn't need the victory. Pac obviously could use this victory to get him going, and that's what happened. But great match. These guys worked very well together. They had two more matches after this, including the rubber match, which was a oh gosh, I lost my train of thought now. Oh, it was an Iron Man match that Kenny Omega would win, but it was on the Go Home show before Revolution. But yes, definitely great match for sure. Maybe the second best match of the night. My match of the night, I'm sure everyone's match of the night, was that tag title match we got, that tag title ladder match we got towards the end of the show. Yeah, Pac and Kenny, excellent match. This was also a fun match too. I like the highlights from this one. A Cracker Barrel Clash. Triple threat match. Darby Allin, I keep forgetting to change the graphics. There we go. Triple threat match, Cracker Barrel Clash. Darby Allin, Joey Janela, and Jimmy Havoc. Awesome match. Even though, again, we were having a bunch of tag team matches on this show to establish some more tag teams, because that's the people who definitely needed, a little more establishing at this point for Dynamite, for All Elite Wrestling. This was still an awesome match for sure, giving us like a hardcore style match to look forward to. That's definitely all three of these guys bread and butter for sure. Again, Joey Janela actually had a pretty good unsanctioned match against Jon Moxley in the main event of Fyter Fest back in June, and Darby Allin, again, I was instantly won over by him at Fyter Fest as well. In his match with Cody Rhodes, that was awesome. And Jimmy Havoc, I thought had a good showing in this match as well. Of course, I love that ending with that trust fall that Darby Allin does. Like Darby Allin, because I was listening to the Talk Is Jericho podcast earlier with Jericho and Matt Hardy, who just recently interviewed on him leaving WWE recently, and how he feels he can still contribute to the wrestling industry, which of course is the main reason why he left the company. But they brought up a good point. Darby Allin is probably meant to be the next Jeff Hardy. Daredevil, does crazy stunts. He's, a scrappy babyface and whatnot. And I think he's definitely pulling off really good right now. Again, with this match he had, I know he had a match against Moxley on Dynamite, and also he had a shot at the world title when Jericho was champion. And then recently his match at Revolution against Sammy Guevara. Another awesome match as well. Like, this guy has so much in him to offer. And Janela and Havoc aren't bad either, but again, like Darby Allin is definitely the bigger star, I feel, out of all these guys for sure, and he was definitely the right person to go over and get the win here. Tyler says that Moxley is like the AEW Stone Cold. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, he was. Well, it was weird because it looked like Moxley was brought in as a heel, then it was a tweener. Now he's definitely a babyface after the promos he's been cutting, especially after he won the world title recently. But we'll talk about, of course, when we get there. But that's the match number 5. Match number 6. This was probably the weakest match on the show. This is the match with the implication of the winner of this match gets a bye in the first round of the AEW tag title tournament. And it was obvious it was going to go to the heels. But again, it was best friends Trent and Chuck Taylor taking on Dark Order's Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. This match wasn't anything too spectacular. I mean, again, the Dark Order, they're kind of getting somewhere now with having Brody Lee join as the Exalted One, and they kind of, revamp themselves a little bit, and it's somewhat being a little bit better. But the Dark Order has just always been just like a hit or miss gimmick, I feel, for a lot of people. Like, not too many people have really, been behind it, which is why I thought this match was kind of lame, because Dark Order would go on to win and get the bye. I thought when that happened, I thought, okay, maybe they're going to be the ones to be at least, runner-up for the tag titles. But instead, they lost in the first match they had in the tag title tournament, and then they kind of, revamped themselves and become, what they are now. Again, and Brody Lee has been recently introduced as the Exalted One. After the match, though, we had the Dark Order keep fighting with the best friends. The lights went out, came back on, and Orange Cassidy had appeared in the ring. Taking out the heels, with just his smooth style. And he also got a hug from Chuck Taylor and Trent for his efforts. And he's kind of been like, their third mate basically involved. Again, the match he had at Revolution against Neville Pac was awesome. I can't wait to talk that match when we get there, and he's definitely really been a very entertaining spot in this show for sure. So definitely a positive come out of this, but still, the match in general between Best Friends and the Dark Order, to me, was definitely the weakest match on this card for sure. But hey, there's gotta be one, so that's the case for sure. And then the next match, speaking of, implications for a championship. Early in the show, again, Nyla Rose had won on the buy-in, had won the 21-woman Casino Battle Royale. So the winner of this match would face Nyla Rose for that crappy-looking women's world title. But again, I do like that they're calling it the women's world title. It feels a little more, stronger sounding, I feel. But it was Rio taking on Hikaru Shida. Not a bad match. Rio would get the win. I know a lot of people weren't too big of a fan of, because Rio would eventually go on to beat Nyla Rose, and she was the world champion. I know a lot of people weren't a fan of that. She was alright, but I do agree, I don't think she set the world on fire either as world champion. She had been missing in action quite a bit as well. She wasn't really around too much. And I think people thought that, Nyla Rose was more built up and was, the bigger roadblock, and definitely, have already because again, why was Rio? I mean, they could have gone with Britt Baker or like Brandy Rhodes being the one to start off, as a women's world champion. But I know a lot of people weren't really big fans of Rio being the first women's world champion. I mean, she's not bad, but again, I don't think she's anything spectacular either as well. But again, I still don't know her too well. But Rio would win, and again, she would go on to be the first AEW Women's World Champion. And then about a month or two ago, she would drop the title to Nyla Rose. And of course, now we have a lot more established women. Again, we have Nyla Rose, we got Rio, we got Dr. Britt Baker, Chris Statlander, Bea Presley, Hikaru Shida. I think is the current number one ranked for the women's division. So she's probably going to be the next one to get a title opportunity against Nyla Rose in the near future. Maybe a Double or Nothing, who knows? But we'll have to wait and see. But that's it for that match. Okay, this is a match I definitely wish I would have been able to see the whole thing for. Because, of course, of the talent involved in it. Two former WWE superstars. Well, one, Cody Rhodes, which had already shown me, he belongs in there. The other one was this is a fresh mind for, the real life Ronnie Arnelli, formerly Ty Dillinger, Shawn Spears. This is his first actual... Well, I'm sorry. He did have his first singles match on pay-per-view. Because he did have a match at... I think it was Fyter Fest. It was your Fyter Fest or Fight for the Fallen? One of the two. He had a six-man tag. It might have been, I think it was Fight for the Fallen, actually, I think. I can't remember for sure. Yeah, I'll go with Fight for the Fallen. He had a six-man tag match. No, it had to be Fight for the Fallen. Okay, it was Fight for the Fallen because Joey Janela was also in this match, and Joey Janela fought Moxley at Fyter Fest. I got it right, thank the Lord. Anyways, but his first appearance in AEW, besides the Casino Battle Royale at Double or Nothing, one that caught everybody's eyes was when he did that nasty chair shot to Cody's head after his match with Darby Allin at Fyter Fest. And he took him out, and again, that caused a whole controversy of whether or not there should be protected chair shots in AEW or not, which I think they have gone forward with. But that set up this match, because obviously with Cody Rhodes being one of the principal owners of All Elite Wrestling, he obviously just saw Shawn Spears as just a utility man. Well, Shawn Spears took offense to that, and then went after Cody Rhodes to prove that, hey, I do belong here, and I'm more than just a utility man, basically. Kind of established this whole, gimmick of him calling himself the chairman, saying he runs the place and whatnot, having Tully Blanchard in his corner as his manager. And for what I saw in this match, it was really good. I definitely like, the presence and the mystique of Shawn Spears for sure with this heel character. He hasn't really done much since, though, which has been a little bit disappointing, as I really thought he was going to take off, but it might be because, if there was like a mid-card title in AEW, maybe he would have more to do, but he still hasn't really been featured on Dynamite too much yet, unfortunately. But this match was still good. We got some involvement also from Arn Anderson and MJF as well. I think this was when they established Arn Anderson as Cody's like mentor and whatnot, as he is right now, and of course with his wife. But of course Brandy was off doing other stuff with the Nightmare Collective at the time before that got dropped. But this was still a good match. Again, Shawn Spears still did look strong in the loss. However, again, I wish they would have, they would give him more to do, because I definitely find this mystique in him as the chairman of AEW definitely, very intriguing for sure, and I definitely want to see him like really get over for sure. So that was it for that match. Check the live chat here again. Nothing really new right now in the live chat. But that's it for that match. The next match My match of the night, and I'm sure everyone's match of the night. Two of the best tag teams in the world for the AAA tag titles in a ladder match. It was the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, taking on Ray Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. in the ladder match. Awesome match, top to bottom. These two teams, every time you come out, they come out. They're always destined to put on a great match, or even a classic. This one was a classic, and this is definitely a strong candidate to me for one of my best tag matches of 2019. Although I still kind of give the rub to me, because I personally love all four of these teams. Well, most of these four teams, but my tag match of the year was last year was definitely that fatal 4-way ladder match at Takeover 25. But this one I think was also a great contender as well. Just an awesome match featuring two of the best tag teams in the world. Of course, everyone's favorite spot in this match, and I saw it too, was that sick looking what was it called? Canadian Destroyer. That obviously a lot of people say should have probably put them away, but it did not. They still got up from it, but it was freaking awesome. But yeah, again, these two just know how to perform as two of the best tag teams in the world. The Lucha Bros did retain the tag titles, and then after at some point they would eventually, go on to establish themselves as heels, and now the Lucha Bros are with Pac in the faction now called Death Triangle. So we'll see how that goes to them. But after this, also speaking of tag teams, afterwards they were attacked by men in masks who end up being formerly LAX in Impact, but now of course they're Pride and Powerful and part of the Inner Circle, Santana and Ortiz. They made their AEW debuts, and I am actually very surprised they have not won the tag titles yet. I thought they were going to win them off of SCU, but instead they went with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, which that's fine because they want to have my personal tag team match of the year at Revolution. That's my best tag team match of the year so far. We'll talk about that when we get to Revolution, of course. But great match, definitely my match of the night. The second best match of the night to me still was Pac and Kenny Omega. But that was awesome, and again with this one Santana and Ortiz debuted as well. And then the main event was to crown the first ever All Elite Wrestling World Champion. It was Hangman Adam Page, who won the Casino Battle Royale on the buy-in at Double or Nothing, taking on the winner of the main event of Double or Nothing, Chris Jericho. Not a bad match. Obviously, though, it was shown that, Hangman Adam Page was not yet ready. He was still growing on everyone and, getting the respect and the attention that it needs to be. Obviously, now I think with this run he's having right now with Kenny Omega as tag champ, I think that he's definitely gotten a little more over and gotten more respected. He is in a better position right now, but was right here he was not ready yet, unfortunately, to be a world champion and be the face of the company. Chris Jericho, who's more well known and has been to several different wrestling promotions all over the world. Now, because earlier I said how a Kenny Omega, it's right to kind of build him as someone who people who might not know him well enough yet. Why he's taken losses like Pac and Jericho and Moxley. Of course, he was recently get a win at Revolution in his tag match with him, Page, taking on the Young Bucks, and again my tag match of the year so far. But Jericho, is a lot more well known around the world, and I think he was the right person to put the world title on first and definitely build up the show and this division around him for the first several months of Dynamite, and I think it worked out pretty good, I gotta say. So yeah, not a bad match, but again, to show that Page was still up and coming right now. But he definitely is rising to the ranks for sure. So yeah, guys, that is going to do it. That is my live review of AEW All Out. Again, probably wasn't the best review, but again, I didn't actually get to watch the show. I just had to watch the highlights. but I think for the most part it went pretty good. Let's check the live chat before we go off the air. And why do AEW have time limits? I like the fact actually that AEW has time limits because it kind of one, it doesn't drag out matches too long. Sometimes WWE, again, they do have a habit of making matches way, way, way too long that need be, and it definitely adds, it times things out right, and I love it. And it says AEW is on lockdown too. I mean, at least they're actually putting on good shows in front of the audience, unlike Raw and SmackDown, they're putting on shows that are just like saying, "Hey, we did this" and whatnot. But again, All Out was a good show. I gave it a B plus because yes, it had some moments in the match, established some new stars. We got our first world champion. We had, of course, Santana and Ortiz appear. We had classic tag match and almost a classic match with Pac and Omega. But obviously, there was still some work to be done for sure. But it was still a great show. I gave it a B plus. So guys, what are your thoughts on AEW All Out? Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Make sure to slap a like on the video, subscribe or comment on my channel, follow me on Twitter at DemandAirbrine3. Remember, I have to go live again next. The next live review will be WWE Clash of Champions 2019, which, yeah, that show was not really too good. But again, that's not my worst pay-per-view of 2019. That will follow Clash of Champions when we talk about Hell in a Cell. And oh boy, am I going to rip that show apart limb from limb. So until then, guys, I am the Club Man 1993. I'm checking out. Have a great rest of your night. I will see you all later. Again, make sure to stay safe from all the stuff going on with the coronavirus. Make sure to stay healthy for sure. And again, just continue to pray that everyone, definitely gets through this rough time. Those of you, of course, who, have been laid off from work right now, like myself and a lot of my other friends and a lot of people in my company, because my company closed down. Again, I just pray for you guys just to hang in there. Again, this will be over with. We will get through this. We will survive this. And I just pray also for the families who are dealing with someone who is sick with the coronavirus as well. And again, just hope for the best for all of you. So until then, guys, I'm checking out. Have a great rest of your night. I will see you all later, and peace out, everybody.